Hello coders, so this isn't going to be the most exciting tutorial and is kind of optional. This video is just going to cover the restructuring I've done to the Git repository and the implementation of a more cross-platform build system. If you already have a build process and structure for your engine that you prefer, you can stick with that and don't feel the need to reorganize things to match what I have exactly. So I've restructured the Git repo for the project. If I was only doing 30-ish tutorials, I think the current structure works, but as we get into the higher numbers of tutorials, putting each tutorial as its own folder in the project isn't really sustainable. Instead, I'm going to switch to a branching structure. The previous tutorials will all be preserved in the branch tutorial 0 to 22, but from now on, each subsequent tutorial will be put into its own branch and will be a pull request to update the main branch when completed. Based on a lot of helpful feedback from our Discord, I've chosen to use CMake going forward as the build system for the project. CMake isn't exactly a build system. It's a tool that uses platform and compiler independent configuration files to then generate files to be able to natively build your project. I'm still very much a novice when it comes to CMake, so just keep that in mind. My solution here is probably going to need some improvement over time. My goal is to make things as simple as possible to build for a wide range of platforms. So let's start by downloading CMake if you don't already have it. Now, currently in the project, the tutorial directory has the most up-to-date content for the series. So I'm going to copy the tutorials folder and move it to the top level, and then rename the folder to source. This directory will now hold all the source code for the project. I'm going to remove all the other older code from the directory, and delete the env and makefile since CMake will generate that for us from now on. I want my shaders and models folder to also be at the top level of the project, next to the source directory. So I'll just copy and paste them to the folder higher up, and then delete them from the source directory. We can also remove all the files related to building the project using the old method from the source directory. Now, with those changes, we have a nice clean structure to start working from, with separate top-level folders for our shaders, models, and source code. Okay, I've committed these changes to the main branch of the repo, and now we can get started with adding the new build structure for tutorial 23. I'm going to make a new directory called external, which will be used to hold some of the external dependencies of the project. This is optional, but I think it'll be easier for most people to build the project if these dependencies are locally stored, versus having to download each one separately and set the appropriate path to then include it. So find the location you currently store this library and copy it to your external folder. Next, we need to create a new file called cmakelist.txt, and we put this at the top level of the project. This is the configuration file which tells the CMake tool about the build and structure of our project. You can find a pastebin link with this file's content in the description below. This file is actually a lot simpler than it looks, so we'll go through it in just a moment. I will also create two additional files, env-window-example.cmake and env-unix-example.cmake, which also both have pastebin links. These are just some example template files for how you may want to configure the path variables for your project. These files are marked optional in the CMake file, and for macOS and Linux operating systems, you probably won't need one at all, depending on how you installed the external dependencies. On Windows, though, you will likely need to configure a local.env.cmake file. Okay, let's briefly walk through this. So we create a variable called name, which will be the file name of your output executable. So rename this to be your engine's name. Next, we check if the generator being used is for MinGW, which is a possible dev environment to use on Windows. If it is, then we configure the file paths to the compilers. I'll demonstrate this later. Then we create our project using the name set above, and I have mine as version 23 just because this is tutorial number 23. The next chunk of code is for locating Vulkan. The default behavior is to use the Vulkan SDK path variable that can be optionally specified in the .env.cmake file. When not provided though, the fallback is to use the find package function, which will attempt to locate a Vulkan installation on your system. This works more reliably on Linux and Mac, I find, than on Windows. So on Windows, I recommend using the first option of manually specifying the Vulkan SDK path. Locating the GLFW library uses the same pattern. Again, for Windows, you need to manually specify the file path. Also, if you're using Visual Studio, make sure this Visual Studio version matches what you are using. So for example, if you're on 2017, change this to use the 2017 GLFW binary instead. The tiny object loader behavior is that if a file path has been provided in the .m file, it will use that. But when not specified, it falls back to using the lib provided by the external folder. Then this glob recurse function is going to find all the CPP files within the source directory, including any files contained by subdirectories, so this is really useful. And then it stores references to them into a variable called sources. Then we use these .cpp source files as input for making the executable for the project. Note the project name variable was automatically set by CMake when we created the project above. And so this will just be equal to the name variable that we also set. Okay, then here we just set the compiler to use the C++ 17 standard. For all of our external dependencies, we need to include their header directories and say where the link libraries are located. Some of this depends on which platform we are using. That's why we have all of these if statements and else checks and so on. I also specify the project source as an include directory because that's where our header files are located. And as a last step, we say to link the GLFW and Vulkan libraries to our project. So sorry I went through that kind of fast, but I found that these videos here were helpful for me, at least when getting started with CMake. So if you're looking to gain a deeper understanding of what's going on, I recommend checking them out. And then the last bit of this file just specifies a second build target, which essentially just finds a GLSL compiler provided by the Vulkan library, and then locates all the vertex and fragment files in the shaders directory. And finally, each of these shader files will be built to their corresponding SPV file to be used within the engine. Okay, one notable change with how CMake works is that our executable will now be stored in a top-level folder called build, and should be executed only from that location. So when trying to locate resources, relative file paths should be specified as if we are located in the build directory. For example, to find a shader, we need to go one directory up from the build to get to the top level of the project, and then into the shaders directory to find a shader file. So we need to update the file path for each resource to do this. I'm going to open the pipeline implementation file and declare a new constant called engine_dir equal to one directory up. So when executing the project from the build dir, this will be the top level of the project. I'll then have my readFile function concatenate this directory to my file path and use this new value to locate my shader resources. And okay, now we need to do the same for loading models. I'll copy this definition here to paste into my model implementation file, and then update the create model from file function to use the engine_dir plus file path. Now, building the project for Linux and macOS is very straightforward. I'll create a new bash scripting file called unixbuild.sh so that we can repeat this process easily. And then note that this should only be executed from the top level directory of the project. So first we create a directory called build if one does not already exist. We navigate into the build directory and call the cmake function. The -s option specifies the source directory, which is the top level of the project. And then the -b option specifies the build directory, which is what we should be currently in. Next, I call make to build the project and make shaders to build our shaders. And then finally run the engine's executable. And then as the actual final step, I'll navigate back up one directory to the top level of the project. You might need to run the chmod command first in order to make this script executable. And then if we run the script, we can see the output from the CMakeLists file. It then builds each of our source files, links them together, builds every shader, and starts the engine. One advantage to the makefile that CMake generates is that it keeps track of which files need to be recompiled. So if you make a small change, only that part of the project will need to be recompiled. This means that if we execute the build script again, Our program compiles nearly instantaneously because no changes have been detected. If we open the build directory, we can see all the files the CMake tool has generated for us. One last thing to note is that you shouldn't run your engine from anywhere other than the build directory. If I try so from here, so at the top level, you can see it breaks my relative file paths. I have to first navigate into the build folder and then run the project for things to work correctly. Okay, now building for Windows is only slightly more complicated. The first thing we need to do is to create the .env.cmake file. So duplicate the Windows example file and rename it to .env.cmake. You need to set the absolute file paths to your glfw, glm, and Vulkan installation locations. Next, if you're using MinGW rather than Visual Studio, you will also need to set its file path. To build for Windows using MinGW, we can use a bat file. This should also only be executed from your top-level directory. We create a build folder if one does not already exist, and navigate into it and call cmake with the -s option specifying the source directory, which should be the top-level directory of our project, and the -b option specifying the build directory, which is the directory we currently are in. The last option is -g, and this tells CMake to use the MinGW build generator. Next, I call make to build the project and make shaders to build the shaders. And as the final step, I navigate back up one directory to the top level of the project. For using MinGW, you need to make sure you're using the 64-bit build, which can be found here to download. Make sure to update your system environment path so it can be found. You can use the where command to check that things are being located correctly. Okay, now in the top level directory of our project, if we run the bat file, we can view the CMake output and each of our source files to be built. CMake generates the build directory with all the necessary build files, and we have also compiled our engine. Unlike the Unix scripting file, I wasn't able to figure out how to properly launch the engine automatically on Windows. So to run the engine, you need to open the build directory and double-click to launch the executable. If you prefer to use Visual Studio, that is also still possible. Update your paths, and then in PowerShell, I will create a build directory, navigate into it, and then run the cmake command specifying the source and build directories. This will generate a solution file for us, which we can open in Visual Studio. In here, there's just a couple small steps we need to do to build the project. Right-click on the shaders target and select Build to build your shaders. Right-click on the engine and set it as the startup project. And then select the Release Build option and build your project. Et voila, our engine in Visual Studio. Note that the relative paths to our shaders and model resources will still work in Visual Studio because of this line here in our CMake. This tells the Visual Studio debugger to set its location to the build directory for when it runs the engine. This way, the relative file paths will still be correct. If you have any trouble getting the build system to work correctly on your platform, please let me know in the comments below or on our Discord. Anyway, that's it for this one. Thank you for watching and keep on coding. Cheers!